Right guys, I don't know whether I'm live because my phone isn't giving me a notification either. Morning, Miss Latte. There we go. We had a power cut. Started the stream. Just replied to my Discord. So look. Yeah, we started the stream on time, or 3 minutes late, and then I had a power cut. So just get my Discord up to have a look. Just replied to my message on Discord. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, it wasn't great. I mean, granted, I was just actually waiting for people to come in, especially yourself, because today we are obviously doing the ingredients that you had in your house. So we have the chickpeas. Let's go with this camera here. Normally looks better visual. I need to get a deflector for that, I think. We have the red onions, potatoes. We didn't get the noodles purely because what I had in mind for these ingredients just isn't going to go with noodles. But what it does mean is that you would also need one more ingredient, unless of course you want to go full veggie, because I don't know if you're a veggie or whether you eat meat. But you would need some mince for this. Beef mince would be best, but any mince that you prefer, obviously. I'm getting myself a coffee. I was up until 5:30 this morning with Gunzno. You know Guns, as far as I know. In the Discord chat, myself and several other people. So, as you can probably see, I'm quite tired. Which means time for coffee. How's your day going today? I'm assuming you're at work. Fly me to the moon. Won't report that just yet, because it'll be really loud in your ears. Good. So this morning we are making a sourdough loaf again. Oh, you might want to see the sourdough loaf that I made the other day. I think you were on stream at the time. This is how it came out. My very first sourdough loaf. Coming nice and springy look. Springs back every time, got nice grain. Nice bit of colour to it. And overall, it tastes absolutely brilliant. So, today we're going to make another one. Use a slightly different technique than the one that Henry used, in that he proofed it in one bowl, he shaped it in another, and then he tipped it out into another bowl to cook it. I didn't tip it out into another bowl because my bread tin is only this size. It's not even mine actually, it's Del Boy's. You can't even know, not Del Boy's, it's Cass's. So that's the standard loaf. That's what comes out of the tin. Okay. And that's the tin that I baked the sourdough loaf in. So as you can probably imagine, it wasn't going to fit. It had too much dough. So I just baked it in this and it came out perfectly. That's not officially an oven dish. It's actually the insert out of an old slow cooker that broke. So instead of wasting it, I just took it out and used it as an oven pot. Would you like to see how this cuts, or would you rather just me get on and show you how I made it? I'm going to put it back over here. If you want to see how it cuts later on, let me know. You can certainly have a slice with butter while I'm having my coffee this morning. Okay. So first thing I've got to do is I've got to set aside the starter that I need for the next loaf. Just need to feed this. I'm already running a couple of hours late on the feeding this morning. Anyway, this rolling somewhere. Is the sound okay? And or the video. This camera here, to me, looks very, very overexposed. Everything looks white. I don't know if that is just me or that is, you know, fact. Maybe you can let me know, because it does look a bit pinky. It's supposed to be a HD camera, but I'm not convinced. There we go. That's all I need for one sourdough. Alright, no problem. Don't panic. Chat. Still here. That's not a problem, madam. I understand that's not a problem at all. Yeah. If I feed this with 300 grams again, it's going to come streaming up the top again. I'd really like to get 2 loaves out, but I haven't got 2 loaf tins actually, so. And I need the second one to actually make a loaf with. Slightly larger though. For 450, I'll make 1/2 mixtures and make 1.5 trays. Go a little bit over because you'll lose some to the side of the jar. We're also doing Yorkshire pudding mix today. So we're making the batter this morning, the mixture this morning. We're sitting in the fridge, it'll get to rest all day. Then we get to make Yorkshire puddings to go with this evening's meal. And this evening's meal we're doing the preparation for this morning as well. And this evening's meal is going to be cottage pie with chickpeas, red onions and potatoes. Which is why obviously you understand why you would need some mince to go with it, or some sort of meat. Or if you're not so inclined, you can make it full veggie. Got carrots, parsnips, What else would I put in it? So look. I did buy some other ingredients, just, you know, as an alternative, obviously. You just stick peppers in, if you really want it. I got Swede. So we got Swede. You put peppers in, you put white onions in. I also got parsnips and carrots. Okay. So now, not all of these ingredients will go into the cottage pie. Some will, but only a little bit to give it that bit of flavour and add that little bit of texture and depth to it. But the rest will be either cooked up on a pan, so just boiled up, or are going to be roasted, because roasted parsnips are one of my ultimate favourites, my all-time favourites. Now, where I was brought up in the countryside, the farmers used to leave all the old parsnips and carrots and anything else that they didn't need because it was either misshapen and the supermarkets wouldn't take it or anything like that, and we were allowed to go and help ourselves. Now, parsnips, everybody used to say, you'll make yourself sick. So they used to go and pick big bags full, carrier bags full like this. Just great big, like a Tesco's carrier bag. And you'd go home, and I'd just sit and eat plates filled with roasted parsnips. So I'll be having roasted parsnips, carrots and Swede. Like I say, they're optional. They're just there in case you know. Some people would rather go out and buy extra ingredients rather than just have a couple of bits in it. However, it is fully possible to make a very healthy, very tasty, and very meaty, in fact, cottage pie out of vegetables. I've never done it. It's not my thing. I like meat. But I know some people do, so don't knock those who like. I'm going to stick this over here because I need it to warm up before I use it. I need it up to room temperature. And it's been sat on that windowsill all night and it is like ice. So, now we have to feed this. Some onions that I started using the other day. Actually, you might not be able to use now because it looks like they're sprouting. This is where the food prep comes in handy. So I set up a Discord, by the way. I tend to vary mine with meat. I've had beef or chicken for a few days. Then I crave just veggies. See, now this is the thing people do. They go off and they'll go, well, I'm just going to go veggie for 4 days, and then they'll go veggie for 4 days, and then you crave the meat, or you'll eat nothing but meat because you've had a craving, and then you crave the vegetables. Whereas if you actually have something like cottage pie, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different vegetables and meat and gravy, and then you got a big old pile of mash. There's nothing left for your body to crave. You're getting all your vitamins, minerals. You know, you're also taking the moisture that comes with the gravy. So you get a full protein boost as well for your body. So you don't get so much of the craving. Oh, look at me. Cheers and good morning. Right, let's get this fed. Before it starts screaming at me, feed me! I'm going to get 400 grams of nuts. 400 grams of stuff in this. This bowl is amazing. It came from the range, it cost £2.50. And it's huge. The only problem is I use it so much, it always needs washing. Oh yes, let's open this. Sorry, just excuse me one moment. This could be good news. I sent a parcel to my friends in South Africa about 3 months ago. They were missing. Not unusual apparently for South Africa. But when you're sending somebody's birthday present, Hey, got my money back. Got my money back from Royal Mail. Bonza. Plus £2 for the inconvenience, I'm guessing. Not going to say why, it just says they're paying me that amount. So I got... Sorry guys, let me just screech down you there. I actually got £8 for something that cost me £3. And yeah, the rest is just what they owed me. So I now have a cheque that I need to go and pay into the bank. Yeah, I realised that my details were there. I don't mind people know my name, just, you know, not necessarily my address. Well, some good news, ladies and gentlemen. Some good news. Get my money back for postage that never got there. I sent my friend in South Africa. They can't get hold of. I don't know if you know what they are, but Karamak bars. They're like a white chocolate caramel, if you like. They're not actually chocolate at all. But everybody seems to think they are. And for her birthday, I bought her a full box, like 48 packs of 3. So 3 times 48, so it's 250 bars. Sent them over along with a gift for my friend who is her partner, which was a Bluetooth module for his stereo. Sorry, I'm just trying to think while I feed this. 150. And it's just an upgrade module that I can, you know, could have made, but I didn't know if I'm making it quite as cheap as I bought it. And it never arrived at all, so that's quite good because, like I said, it was her birthday present. And it took me 2 months to track down just to buy the Carmack bars in the first place. So as you can probably imagine, went to all that effort to do that, and then paid quite a lot of money for the bars themselves, just to, you know, have them go missing. Oh dear. But we're out of distilled water, so that'll be another job for this morning. So yeah, as you can probably imagine, she was quite gutted about that. It says we've got a couple of people watching now, but I don't know if I can ever trust these Stream Elements things because they never seem to tell me the truth. Just making the feed. I'm sure you've seen me do this bit before. Literally just make some flour and water in a bowl to feed to the sourdough starter. Then this bowl will be used for making the Yorkshire pudding batter. Which then will sit and rest in the fridge until tonight. I'm just trying to make sure it's smooth. Smooth as we can get it. Definitely need a mixer because if I don't, I think my wrists are going to fall off. Right, that is ready. So now what we do is just pour it in, pour that into there as we do normally. Make sure it's fully incorporated, then pour it back. That's some beautiful sourdough starter right there. Even if I say so myself. See, now you couldn't add hot water to this now because I've got all of the starter in there. If you did that, you'd literally kill your starter. So, you know, even like over warm would be too much as well. Cool. See how stringy that is, gelatinous. Oh. That sourdough bread was muy caliente. Here's I should say, because I saw some there. I wasn't too sure whether I was going to like it because I didn't know if it was going to be too tangy for my particular taste, but actually, you know, it really is quite nice. So I'm just cleaning the side of the bowl before I stick it all back in. Make sure as much of that is as down as possible. Now just remember that sourdough is alive. So if you do make one, you do have to feed it. And if you're in an open kitchen like me where it's always warm, then you're going to have to feed it a lot more than normal. Haven't quite figured out yet where the legal soundtracks are for Twitch. Apparently there's a whole section of them that I'm allowed to use during my stream that won't get them muted and won't get me banned. So I need to find them badly. Because I don't like dead silence or what they call dead air while I'm streaming. And as you know, when I concentrate sometimes, when I'm kneading and things like that, I really do with some music. Oh no, I wouldn't have it that loud. I did think about doing a completely loud kitchen, just like doing a session where I have where I cook on Fridays and just have Femme Friday on in the background, like blasting out in the background. Because the only thing about streaming on a Friday is that it really gets in the way of my Fem Friday. Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. I mean, realistically, I've got speakers in almost all rooms of my house. The speaker in the kitchen is right behind the laptop. So what I would do is, because I have quick release, I do all my own electronics. So I have quick releases on them. So I can literally just click and pull out the plug, and it cuts off the sound from behind there. So you only have background noise coming from the other rooms. So it wouldn't be blaring out in front of you. That would just be obnoxious and unnecessary. Oh, yeah. So for anybody who's just joined, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Ginger Kitchen. We are doing our morning routine where we feed our sourdoughs, we start our breads, and we prepare our kitchen for this evening's meal. And then that way, everything is ready for when you get back. You know, I mean, obviously, normally you would do this sort of preparation first thing in the morning. And actually, did intend on doing it at 8 o'clock this morning. But because I was still up with guns and all, I had guns and all this morning till silly o'clock. I postponed the time a few hours so I could get a little bit of sleep anyway, you know. Yeah, I know there's a way to do it through the actual stream elements, but I have no idea how. So many other things to think about first. I don't know if you heard me earlier. I've started a Discord. Although I must pre-warn you, it's bare bones at the moment. I've only got a couple of channels because I actually don't know how to set it up just yet. It's a whole lot of extra stuff I need to look into. I also, on the request, I got a direct message or a private message, I think you call them. I'm terrible on that. I should learn my phrases a bit better. From somebody the other day asking me for an Amazon Prime wish list. So I had to think about it. So I did that as well, but I have no idea where to put it or how to link it. So, and there's nothing on it yet either. So I'm still learning some of it myself, Ms. Latte, so it's all a learning curve, which you get to take with me. Joys, yeah? Look at you. Okay, so that's step one. Step two, making my Yorkshire door. Now this recipe could not be any easier. Could not be any easier. So, all at once in life, several stories back. Right, so Yorkshire puddings. One of the easiest mixtures to make, also one of the hardest things to actually get to rise. Mystery of man. Very simple versus very much a pain in the butt. Now this is also something that I would advise you do with whisk, not necessarily just a whisk either, an electric whisk. Which I don't have, by the way. I nearly bought chocolate chips, dry banana chips, and mixed raisins to put into this to show you how you can make it sweet. But I thought I'll just leave it basic for now, and we can always get back to the sweetness later on. Right, so yeah, it could be any easier. 3 ingredients: plain white flour, whole milk, and I would rather have actual whole milk directly from the cow. However, until I get down to the farm, I can't get any. And where's it going? Oh, there's eggs. Equal amounts of everything. Hence the reason I put it on the scales. You don't need to. You can just use an egg. Use a cup. Measure it out. You know, a cup of flour would be roughly 2 eggs and milk. Now, bear in mind, you don't want it too runny either, because that would just be disaster. Alright, so I have my own personal recipe, which I will gladly share with you. I actually sat down and wrote out a tutorial for you last night. No, it means that I'm using whole milk from the store, which means that it's been messed with by the government. Basically what they do is, especially nowadays, what they do is they take the milk out of the cow, it goes to a refinery, and they literally take out all of the fat, and I mean all of it. It's called pasteurizing, so they'll literally take out every bit of fat, and then they put back into this. What do they put in? Let's have a look what we got. Nutritional value. Come on, it's normally right there on the list. Saturated fats. In this entire container, there's only 3.6 grams of fat, like so buttermilk or milk fats, if you like, instead of 100% of the amount of fat that should be in it. There is a farm near me, 9 miles away from me, that have now started selling 100% fresh out of the cow straight into a bottle of milk. I cannot stress how badly I want COVID to be over, just so I can go get some. I will get on my push bike and I will cycle those miles. But yeah, that's the closest you're going to get in the shop without buying Gold Top. However, as I explained before, my car no longer works. So I have to rely on public transport. And when I went to get the bus yesterday to go and get my shopping for today's stream, they have changed the bus route. So he went a completely different way. Wasn't impressed because he didn't pick me up at all. And I live in the middle of nowhere, so there's very few buses. So I had to go to the local garage, which is a co-op, and their produce is so expensive. It makes you want to cry. Right, so let's get started. Equal measures. So I'm just trying to think how much mixture I'm making. I'm not worried about how much mixture I make in the sense of, you know, if I have some left over, I have some left over. I will put it back in the fridge and I will just, you know, use it another day. Or, like I say, I use a big tin, I don't use a small one. Says, you realise this is leftovers underneath this sourdough. So what I'll do is I'll make one, mix it up, throw in the next one, mix it up, throw in the next one. So I'm not worried about, you know, physically having mixture left over. Let's make it well in the centre of here. Do you want some salt? Normally I would use sea salt. I haven't actually got any at the moment. Or salt flakes. I absolutely love the idea of using salt flakes and things. Gives you the added bonus of being able to mix it in as you go along. Right, so what have we got? 200 grams. I will put up the actual proper recipe. Like I said, I spent some time last night physically typing it out for you, Miss Latte. So I will upload it into the recipe section of my Discord, and I will endeavour to send you an invite on Discord. Is Ms. Latte your name also on Discord? Because I'm assuming you would be in Barbecue Boys. Oh, you are in Barbecue Boys, actually. I've seen it. It's okay. I know where you are. I will send you an invite right this second. Ms. Latte. So, invite server. Okay. Should hopefully have got that. Not entirely sure if you did, but hopefully. Okay. So I just got a notification I've got a meeting tonight, which isn't going to happen because it's right in the middle of my stream. Or right near the end, I should say. Might have a look at the timing and tweak it a little bit. So 200 grams of flour, sorry. Distracted for a moment there. That's what happens when I have enough sleep. One. Two. Now, it seems like a lot, but it's actually not. Just checking. Little tip for you, Ms. Latte, if you're able to listen. If you're ever cracking eggs, and you split an egg into something, and there is a piece of shell in there, the best thing to get it out with is the shell. The shell is actually attracted to itself. What we've got is exactly 400, so that's exactly 100. 200 grams of eggs, 200 grams of flour, and then we'll have 200 grams. Oh, I didn't do that. Just drag that to the eggs. 200 grams of milk, which essentially is also equates to 200 milligrams of milk. There we go. Right, so that's a good piece of knowledge to know, though. You know, it'll put you in good stead for the future. If you ever split an egg. A lot of people don't know it, which, you know. Now, do you use that technique every time you have eggs? Or do you use that technique just every time that you break an egg? Because if it's every time, you may want to consider breaking eggs slightly differently. Did you also know that no, I lost my train of thought. Oh, when you break your eggs, you should never break them on the side of a bowl or a pan, because that's how you split the yolk inside. When you do that, it cracks the eggshell, pushes it inwards like a sharp knife, and that's what splits it. Because if you do it on a flat surface, it'll crush it flat, and it'll end up with a flat. So even if it shatters into pieces, you'll still have that flat surface. I don't know how much of my hands you can see, so I'm waving my hands around like this, and I don't know what you can even see. $200 grams. Good. Fingers is the worst thing you could use. I mean, I used to use a spoon when before I ever actually knew. So I'm just mixing the eggs with the milk in the middle first. Because then obviously there's something less that you've got to try and mix. And then you just got to incorporate bits of the flour, mix it in, a bit more of the flour, mix it in. Now, if at any point this seems to be getting like a thick batter, and it's too thick, add a little bit of milk. That's all you've got to do, add a little bit of milk. So I'll show you in a second what I mean. Sneaky suspicion this needs another 10 grams of milk. So, just incorporating more of the flour. And to start with, you'll notice it looks very, very, very lumpy. Very, very lumpy. And that is just because of the flour ratio in the actual mixture itself. It's just the way it goes with anything that you mix together. The more dry you put into the wet, obviously soaks it up, it clumps up to try and soak it in. All you've got to do is make sure that by the time you're finished, it's nice and smooth. This is made easier if you've got a whisk. I, yet again, still need to get some of my kitchen appliances back, so I don't even have a whisk, ironically. I wanted to get a egg wash brush last night, and could I find one at my local co-op? Nope, I couldn't. Well, this is not essentially stirring, if you like, at this moment in time. I'm literally beating it like this, so this scoops it up towards the top of the bowl, and then this pushes down. So I'm constantly bringing it up, and I'm pushing against the side of the bowl because it's squashing the flour through the forks, and it's thinning out the lumps. So then just allows me to go a little bit quicker. I won't lie, this is killer on your wrist. I've never, ever over whisked Yorkshire puddings. At the end of the day, if you do it with electric whisk, which is what I advise you to do, all you're doing is whisking until it's gone smooth. So just keep whisking until the lumps are gone. Once all the lumps are gone, you're done. So, you can't really over whisk it. I can't say I've ever heard of anybody else over whisking it. What is that? Oh, tiniest little bit of shell. That's funny. Yeah, as far as I know, you can't over whisk it. I've never heard of anybody over whisking it, but you got to remember it is eggs, flour and milk. So the eggs themselves could be over whisked. I can imagine. Bit like the angel cake on Barbecue Boys stream, you know, everything can be over whisked. Okay, so these eggs that I've got clearly aren't the best eggs. That's not shell. The little brown bits that you sometimes get with the overdevelopment in the eggs. That's all that is. I'd rather not eat them though, so you know. Yeah, like I said, I mean, eggs. Can you imagine when you beat eggs to get egg whites to do parfaits or fondants, or you know, if you're trying to get stiff peaks, as Barbecue Boy was saying the other day, which he did not succeed in, then yes, you know, that was classed as under whisked to start with and over whisked in the end. He definitely over whisked. There's no two ways about that. Sorry, I'm just checking for lumps. I've actually got a lump that's been stuck on my fork for the last 2 minutes. Scrape right down the bottom. Make sure you bring them up. Now, just so you know, sometimes bubbles within the dough, within the mix, can look like a lump, and then you go to grab it and there's nothing there. It's just where the bubble is sat underneath a nice thick mixture. And if you've got bubbles in your mixture, that's brilliant because it'll just help with the rise. I don't mean big, giant, huge bubbles. That's not going to help you. But like little air bubbles. Same as when you're doing bread, you know, you want to catch that air inside. I've heard of people putting things like baking soda in, and you know, people have tried to put baking powder in or use self-rising flour, which don't ever do that either. They're all just bad attempts to try and get bad mixtures to rise. It's not what you need. Right, so let's see that mixture. Nice and smooth. Didn't take an awful lot of mixing because of the way I incorporated, like I said, the push down like that. So you're essentially up, scoop, down. Obviously do it in a much faster, much smaller area. And then everything's incorporated. Only thing with this ball is it's got nowhere to put the fork, because if I do, it slides in. It's constantly having to wipe a work surface. So, I know that not everybody's got one of these in their house. It's an old shaker for proteins, protein powders. Just checking this from a different thing. Out. You could just use a bowl, by the way, or a jug, like leave it in the bowl, or you could just put it into a measuring jug, leave it there. However, I find if I stick it into this, then when I want to use it, take it out of the fridge, and I can just shake it, pop the lid, and I've got a perfect little pouring spout. So it just works out better for me. Plus, if anybody goes in your fridge and knocks it over, it doesn't go everywhere. Okay, so now bear in mind, it will get slightly thicker if you leave it all there like I'm going to. Okay, so you don't want it too thick. What you can do is just put a little bit, and I mean very little bit, extra milk. And then mix that in. You need to make sure it's fully incorporated. So you don't leave it mixed, half mixed or milk mixed, just sat on top of your mixture, so it's spoiling mixture. So you didn't take a lot to mix it in. It's not a lot thinner, it is a little bit thinner. Just enough so it's noticeable. Don't mind me, I just don't like the wastage, so I will scrape out of a bowl as much as I possibly can. And what you'll find with the pancake mix is it slowly drains down. I mean, if you just left the bowl like that, and you came back 10 minutes later, it would be clean. Well, not spotlessly, but you know, pretty much. Voila. No muss, no fuss, no mess. Throw that on there like that. And then that just goes in the fridge till tonight. So we need it. But if you do drink protein shakes and you make them up first, make sure you label it. Because if you don't, you could end up drinking the wrong mix, and it does not taste good like that. I can promise you that. And if you're not going to use it today, make sure you put a label on it with today's date on it so you know when you made it. I have used it up to 3 days. I won't lie to you. I added some extra flour, milk, like 50 grams extra flour, 1 egg, and 50 grams of extra milk on day 2 because I needed more mixture. And obviously, I get more than 1 out of this. In fact, to be perfectly honest, I'll probably get about 3 out of it. 3 big ones, that is. You should get at least 12 small Yorkshire puddings out of that. About 10 mediums. If you're doing muffin tins, just put an extra 100 grams of each in because then you'll have enough mixture left over. Like I said, there's no harm in having some left over. That's going to go and sit in the fridge now. Whatever I don't use today, I could then add and or create mixtures with it. So the basic mixture is just eggs, flour and milk. Basic mixture for pancakes is flour, eggs and water, but not in equal mixtures. It's a bit different because obviously pancakes are a little bit thinner on the mixture. So if you don't use it all for your Yorkshire pudding, then you can convert it and change it by adding water, a bit more flour, possibly another egg. You probably wouldn't need another egg because you don't need as much. So just by adding 50 grams to 100 grams of flour, and then the same amount of water plus 50 grams to thin it out slightly, then you've pretty much got the perfect pancake mix as well. And I am a great believer in having more than one use for something. Like my basic bread dough, which is also a basic pizza dough, just because I want to add an ingredient. Or my flatbread mix, which is exactly the same as my bread mix, but minus the yeast. Sorry, I'm just washing my mixing bowl. Too big for my sink. If I owned the house, I'd change the sink to something bigger. With a squirt nozzle. Little jet gun on top. Barbecue boy, how you doing? Good morning, good morning. Just finished our Yorkshire pudding mix. No. So the sourdough loaf that I made is this. Nice and springy. Got good air pockets to it. Seeds. I've got to admit, it's absolutely beautiful. That is the very first one I've ever made. But this is the starter. So let's bring it up to that one there. Let me turn this off a second. Doesn't help with the close-up cameras, I'm afraid. If you can see that's just been fed, so it's not very active. This here is unfed active yeast. So that's what we're just about to use in about 5 or 10 minutes to make the next sourdough loaf. So that's going to be the next loaf, so that is an active yeast. This has just been fed, so this needs to recreate the bubbles. Hence the reason it's sat on the windowsill. Yeah. I mean, this is a loaf I baked, I want to say 2, maybe 3 days ago. See what I mean? So it's starting to get crumbly now because it's old. But that could be, cut down, stuck in the oven. So like I'll cube this, stick it in the oven, dry it out, and then I literally will crush it in my hands and use it as breadcrumbs. That also came out absolutely brilliant. That I did I made that on Discord during Guns' stream the other night. And everybody got to watch it on live stream, which apparently everybody thought was brilliant. So I may do a few more live streams during Guns' shows as it is anyway. Unofficial bread making during Guns' show. I'm not sure how she'd feel about that. But this now goes in the fridge till later. I'm sure, Barbecue Boy, you are more than familiar with Yorkshire puddings. So today is the viewer's choice for food, and Ms. Latte chose some items that she had in her cupboards and or fridge. I know, right? Guns plays I bake. Ironically enough, I normally would have her on in the background, and then I could put like a little screen up like I did for yourself. It kind of means that I don't lose my viewers to you guys. Oh look, they've come online, there's all jump shit. It doesn't happen anymore, I just put it on the screen for them. Bit of a cheat, but it works out well. I've forgotten what I said. Yeah, so today is viewer's choice. So today we had chickpeas, which Ms. Latte had in the cupboard. I'll share them. Raid. Oh, what? Raid. Who's raiding me? Well, welcome anybody who has just joined. Welcome to the Ginger Kitchens. My name's Mark. And today's viewer's choice. So we are doing morning kitchen. We are preparing for tonight's meal. Which was Miss Latte's choice for this evening was chickpeas, because she had them in her cupboard and didn't know what to do with them. She had one stray red onion. She had 4 baking potatoes, if I remember correctly, and a pack of noodles. The only thing missing, obviously, is the noodles, and I've got some ground beef out, some minced beef, I should say. And we are doing cottage pie tonight. So today we do food prep. So now we're going to throw the sourdough in a bowl, get the sourdough mixed up. This particular mixture takes about 3 hours just to mix the sourdough. Seems like forever, but it's every half an hour you just come and turn it. This is what they call easy bake, no knead sourdough. It's literally no need for me to knead it. And then we're going to cut up the veggies, prepare them and put them in preparation pots, so that when we come back, when you come home, so you would normally do this like first thing in the morning, get up an hour before you go to work. It is doable, by the way, in an hour, just because it takes me 2 doesn't mean it should take 2. If I wasn't streaming, I'd probably have this done by now, if I'm honest. So basically, when you get home tonight, you would literally have a fresh baked loaf. Your house would smell like fresh bread. All the ingredients would be ready, and you just throw them all in the pan, and throw them all together. And Bob's your uncle. Actually, Bob was my granddad, but it's still the same. And then literally it takes you 20 minutes to do dinner. You impress all your friends, you impress all your family, and you're eating quicker than 4 hours later. So you also notice, barbecue boy, that I have a tray on my windowsill that is literally just for the stuff that I use during my morning preparation, and then I have a corner that is just for my streaming now. To make you a little bit sick. I don't know if you're still there, barbecue boy, but spotlight, miniature fake GoPro, which I'm currently testing out, which I'm not sure I like the quality of. As you can see, it's overexposed. Double screen, and then I have my chat. So I can literally do all my elements, and then I have my chat directly on the second screen with the elements on the side, and obviously phone as well, which does the stream elements, tells me who's in the chat. So, and there's like my windowsill with all my bits that I normally have. I always have a spot. Like I said, this is my spot. This is where I do the rest of my cooking in the rest of the house when I'm not streaming. And I'll leave this corner. So on a night, all I have to do is I unplug these two here, or this one here, which is direct HDMI to VGA. This screen's like a £5 screen, by the way, barbecue boy, if you can hear me. And that's a £4 converter. That's all that's needed. It's like £9, completely separate screen. You can have your chat up there or your chat down here. I have mine down the bottom because when the light's on, it's really hard to see the top screen compared to the bottom screen. So my 4K screen is easier to see. Notes if you need notes, somewhere to put your drink. But it gives you places to put stuff out of the way. And as you can see, if you come back here, I've got plenty of room left to do what I need to do. Draining board with my pots on it. Last night's dishes. It's never great. Right, but this is only a basic setup. This is not something that I'm even happy with yet or comfortable with because I don't like the clutter. Now, obviously, you can see I've actually got my stereo speaker in there. I've got a speaker in every room of my house. But because I do all my own electronics, I have a quick release. So I can literally just unhook it and then there's no sound that comes out of that speaker. And that is currently my desk for my screen, which, as you can probably imagine, I don't like. I'd rather not have something sat on top of my speaker, if I can help it. Right, and that's why I set that one up. Now, this, like I said, this whole screen setup cost me less than 10 quid. It's such an old screen, I could probably get you one because people just throw them away. It's an old VGA screen. And then the adapter literally cost me about 4 quid. I'd quite gladly go outside. I've got to be honest, as much as I do, I thoroughly enjoy your show. I will never, I can't deny that. Um, somebody said something on stream the other day about real people barbecue with charcoal, and I had to chuckle because as much as you have complete and utter chaos with your barbecue, and keeping it warm is definitely harder than keeping an oven warm in the kitchen. It is essentially just a gas oven outside. I hope you realise that. So from this point going forwards, that's how you're going to look at it. It's a bargain. That's a bargain. Oh yeah, to the screen, yeah. Like I say, if you literally go on to say free cycle or something like that, you will find people giving those sorts of screens away because they're a VGA connection. That's the oldest connection you get. They don't work with these new laptops without a converter. And I can get you a converter and ship it to you for less than £5. So you don't need sound because you're literally just using it for your chat. And you get your sound from your laptop. And with your new laptop that I think you said you'd ordered, it shouldn't be an issue at all. I would guess it'll have a HDMI out or a USB-C out. And if it's got USB-C out, you can connect anything to it. Ms. Latte, you've gone very quiet. Hope everything's okay. What was I just doing? What was I just doing? Oh, I don't need bread buns for tonight, do I? So we are literally doing sourdough starter. Yeah, -5 degrees, especially in London. Right, so 350. That should have been 450 in there. Why is that doing that? I don't know why I keep looking at my phone to see the chat when I've got a screen there for it. Bad habits, I think. So how's work going today? Miss Latte is also working. She's in the chat, but she keeps going quiet because she has to take phone calls for work. There we go, 450 grams. Exactly what I expected. Like I was trying to explain to Miss Latte earlier is, always put a few extra grams of your starter if you're going to decant it into a jar for later, because I needed to feed my starter. So what I needed to use this morning, I had to put into another jar. If you're going to do that, make sure you put an extra 20 grams in that jar, because you will lose 20 grams. It doesn't seem like 20 grams in there. But bearing in mind, when I tipped it out and it was completely empty, it was only 350 grams. And when I scraped it out, we're now at 450 grams. That's an entire 100 grams that would have just stayed inside the jar if I hadn't known that. So 450 is extra 150 grams. We're doing an extra large quantity because we're turning these into buns. We're not making a loaf with these. Yeah, that's what Miss Latte does. Well, like I say, today's stream, particularly tonight's stream, is essentially geared around her, so that she can have finally use the chickpeas that have been in her cupboard for forever. So we need 450, so 260. Okay, so we need 600 grams of flour. I get through far too much flour in this house. And that's my last bag for today. I'll go get some more. Right now, I know it seems redundant putting water into something that's already wet, but it does still need moisture. Also still needs salt. Right now, yeah, you're all good. I just appreciate the visit. You know, you're more than welcome to come in and out or lurk in the background. This recipe calls for, well, they put 12, the recipe I originally got this from, they put 12 grams of salt in. I do not like 12 grams of salt in anything, let alone my bread. So I only put 7.5 to 8 grams in. It then needs, if it was doing a normal size loaf, I would only need 300 to 350 grams of water. As it happens, because I'm doing bread rolls and we've put 1.5 times the amount in, obviously I need to duplicate the water as well. So I need about 450 to 500 grams of water. Now I don't know if you realise, barbecue boy, but for every litre is a gram. So if you're ever stuck for measuring out 5 litres or 1 litre or 1 millilitre, of water or fluid for anything, water especially obviously, it's just 1 gram instead of 1 mil. And by the way, this isn't bottled water. This isn't anything posh. This is me boiling the kettle, allowing it to cool down and using it as distilled water. So I know it looks posh, but this is actually a Schweppes tonic water bottle that was with my gin. 450. Go. Right, now I won't just throw this in straight away to incorporate it like that. Would just be disastrous. So what we do is we make a little well in the middle. You see the dough? That's from the bottom, that's your sourdough. Well, essentially all you're doing here is by adding the water and the flour to your starter, you're essentially just restarting that process of yeast production, same as when you feed your starter, except you're doing it in a very, very condensed area. It's very thick as opposed to being a liquid like that is. Hold back, reserve some of that just in case. Straight in. Now you don't need to worry about too much of it being too wet or being too clumpy or too many lumps in it. You're literally going to be turning it and churning it for the next 3 hours. Everything will be fully incorporated before it goes in the oven. This particular loaf, by the way, barbecue boy, won't even be going in the oven until tomorrow, or possibly late on tonight. Or these rolls, I should say. But these aren't for today's dinner anyway. Going to take some around the corner for the gentleman. See what he thinks of the sourdough. I think with the older generations as well, Miss Latte and Barbecue Boy, I'm assuming you're still there, Miss Latte, I haven't actually heard from you in a while, that they would probably appreciate the sourdough more than the younger generation, because it's what their mothers and their grandmothers brothers all used to bake, and they all used to have their own live yeast sculptures in the kitchens. Every decent kitchen, every home kitchen, every chef, every baker, even every butcher would have their own dough. And everyone has a different flavour. Every sourdough will have a different flavour because the flavour comes from the yeast and the bacteria in the air where it is created. So everybody has different bacteria on the hands, you have different bacteria in the house, different bacteria in the garden. Now I'm quite lucky because I live in the countryside. So as you can probably imagine, during this time of the year, when all the crops have just been cut, and there's lots of pollen in the air, lots of good bacteria, lots of good yeast, all there for the production. It's just right for the taking. I mean, what more could you ask for? So you start your dough. I mean, I would advise anybody who's starting a sourdough culture. Okay. See, now I've never used it for pizza dough ever, although I quite like the idea of it. Especially now I've had it out of my own, made it myself sort of thing. So you're going to be tempted by this point to try and get it nice and smooth, but there's really not much point. It's a very wet dough, meant to be wet. Don't add any more flour. Don't think you need to add more flour just because it's sticking to everything. It's meant to stick to everything. Well, do you know what? I hope it does. Got to be honest, when I very first tried my sourdough mix, I explained that instead of throwing it away, I took a little piece of it and I cooked it up, and I cooked it like a flatbread. And I didn't like it. It was really tangy, and it like burnt my tongue. It didn't literally burn my tongue, but it felt like it was going to burn my tongue. It felt very acidic. And it turns out that there is also a specific time in the life cycle of your yeast upon which you're supposed to use it. It goes through different stages, so you feed it, and it'll go from smelling just like flour and dough, and then it'll start smelling like bananas, as mine did, and I love bananas, so it didn't bother me at all. And then it'll smell just like over-ripened, slightly vinegary bananas. If it starts to smell like vinegar, it's not dead, it's not dangerous, it doesn't hurt, it's not, gone off or anything like that. It is quite literally has gone through all of the food that you've given it, and it's just consumed everything. And it means that everything is going to start dying, but you've still got like 24 hours to bring it back. My other one that's in the fridge, I haven't used it yet. It's a whole wheat. Now you'll notice that it only rose that much last night. That's because it's the process of eating the food has been slowed down so much by the fridge. I can literally leave it in there for 3 or 4 days without having to feed it. And then pull it out, tip some out and feed it. That went vinegary to start with because I didn't put enough food in it. This one, as you can see, rose all the way up here last night. So, and last night it was only down here, so it doubled in size, and then some. And as you can see, the bubbles are already starting to come through in the dough. So fingers crossed, our very wet dough. I mean, it's supposed to be wet. The one I did yesterday, that one I did the day before, was just as wet as this. He is working and lurking, you all are. Oh yeah, my spoon. Well, I would use my scraper. However, I split it in two yesterday. And before you send the barbecue boy, I know it's not an actual scraper. It's my blood donor card that I've had for the last 30 years. And has never done anything other than being a scraper in my kitchen. But yesterday, I broke it. So I will now have to get a new one. But normally, you wouldn't use a spoon. You would use a scraper, like this, to keep it off your hands. And you can dip said scraper in water. Same as your hand. You dip your hand in it, and then it doesn't stick to it. See how much easier it is to incorporate things when you have a scraper, as opposed to not having a scraper. This is actually a little bit too wet, ironically. It's easily rectified. Don't want a lot, by the way. I'm literally just putting a little enough in to take up some of the excess moisture. No, you're all good. You're all good, Miss Latte. That's not a problem at all. I understand that you're working. You know, everybody has to carry on with what they're doing on a daily basis, and I just appreciate that you're there at all, to be fair. At least that way I know I'm not just talking to myself. Just a crazy ginger person in the kitchen, baking bread, talking to himself. That would not be a good show, would it? At least this way I can say I'm not insane, I'm talking to a crowd. Right, so just incorporating the rest of that flour that I put in by folding over. And by the way, barbecue boy, that's what folding is. You come in from underneath and you gently lift over. I don't know if you can see that on any of the cameras. In, over, under, over, under, over. You're folding it over the top. So over, over, over. As opposed to mixing it. Now I know this is supposed to be a no-knead mixture, however, this seems a little bit wet compared to yesterday's mixture. May have added 50 grams too much moisture. However, in the interest of not just keep adding more and more and more and more ingredients, because we don't like waste on this channel, it's not a problem, we're not going to waste any of it. What I have just realised is, though guys, is that I forgot to put any butter in, or any, you know, medium of oil whatsoever, which is an easy fix. Working and lurking. Oh, wow. Whoa. Okay, so the windowsill is that cold. My coconut oil has gone hard, like wax. So now you can see why my starter goes so slow throughout the day when I feed it the small amounts. Oh, don't worry about this. This will soon solidify, or liquefy even, sorry. Just from the feeling of my hands, and probably from the heat of the door, to be fair. Right, so roughly 30 grams, 2 tablespoons, teaspoons even, sorry, not tablespoons, don't ever do that, that would not be good. Watch. It's just cold pressed, 100% natural, untouched coconut oil, or what they call virgin coconut oil. Stick that in there, put it back on this. And I'm adding some seeds. Now I do have mixed seeds, but this has got mainly sesame seeds in it. Roughly you want 40 to 50 grams. And then we incorporate. Melt some of this out first. Just melts in your hand. Otherwise you just end up with lumps of it. That's not what we want. Working and lurking. Could make a video out of that. I actually think there's only one of you here at the moment. The other one has gone to working. Barbecue Boy's going to be in and out of Zoom calls, so I can only imagine he's going to be getting cut off every so often. Just keep going round, keep going round, and keep going round, so you eventually see all the seeds coming through. You'll see like an even mixture eventually. At the moment, most of them probably just in that central bit. Because it's folding them in, it's not mixing them in. Get right underneath like that. Hey. Yeah, it's just a little bit too runny. Like I say, you don't want to be adding too much at any one time. You don't want to over dry it and have to re-moisten it, that's just pointless. So relaxing working with dough. You can literally just get lost into it, staring into the dough. Welcome, 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 whoever it was that's just joined, who's lurking and lurking. So you're more than welcome to lurk. We don't mind around here. Just glad that people are coming in to see what's going on. We're just making a sourdough mix that is going to be split into rolls later on. So we'll have sourdough buns, hopefully. Well, it's starting to come up a little bit more stretchy, a little bit more stringy there. Hands starting to get a bit crampy. That's fine. Expected that. Like I say, and even your bread scraper, a bread scraper would incorporate into my whole hand instead of just my fingertips, which would mean that turning this dough would not be such a pain in the bum. Looks a lot better. I still can't get over how wet the dough looks when you're working it. I mean, it looks just disgustingly wet, but it's really not. So for the next 3 hours now, every half an hour, I have to come and do this again. Just a few turns, not like 10 minutes worth of kneading. It's supposed to be a no-knead design recipe. However, my neuroses and hang-ups don't allow me to not knead it because my brain tells me everything needs kneading. So I'm just getting excess dough off my fingers. Cover that up and that is good to go in the fridge. Oh no, it doesn't go in the fridge for now, does it? Does it? Don't worry, I'll remember. However, the other half of the 7 grams of salt goes in about half an hour, roughly. And when I do the last fold is when I'm going to split it into rolls. Just don't know how I'm going to do that yet. And if I can't, then we might just end up with 2 loaves of sourdough, which isn't a problem either, to be fair. I don't mind having 2 loaves of sourdough. I'll give one to somebody. So just excuse me one minute. I think somebody's knocking at my door. Nope, incorrect. It is just the bin man. Just the bin man. They can make it if they try. Just the bin man. Barbecue Boy, if you are in, or if you come back at any point, can you tell me how to find the background tracks that Twitch allows us, please? Or where you found the backing tracks that Twitch allows? I just need some background music, and it doesn't work out too well when there's nobody, when there's not generalised information on it that I can find. Get it out of the bag, put it in the pot. Now this is the last kilo of flour I've got, and it's not even a full kilo now. So we'll have to make a trip to the shop before tomorrow's, tomorrow's Friday, before tomorrow's stream. As because all of you know, I generally make bread for my guests as well to take home. So we will find out hopefully tonight whether they want bread rolls or whether they want a loaf, or we'll find out. I have a sneaky suspicion Darren will be coming over today anyway, Del Boy, who was in the chat last Friday. Also known to Miss Latte as the funny guy. Must remember to put cling film on my shopping list. I've been to the store twice this week and still haven't managed to buy any. Ooh, what is close. I get through so much cling film. I would use, and I would recommend anybody else to use them as well, is hair nets, like shower caps. They work brilliantly for this. However, I used my shower cap when I first started the sourdough mix to cover the sourdough mix, and it expanded out the top. It didn't just expand out the top, it also broke the hair net. Right, so that's sourdough fed, sourdough loaf mixed, Yorkshire puddings mixed. Now all we have to do is food prep for this evening meal, and we are donezo Washington. Oh, you know what I'm going to play in the background? A little bit of guns. Just a little bit. Oh, Miss Latte, I have my bananas ripening as we speak to make banana bread. So we have nice ripe bananas to do with. Nom, 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 nom. Like I explained to you before, it's not something I've ever made before, so I have been looking at a few videos, trying to figure it out. Put that back in there before it's too hyperactivated. Ooh, just remembered what I wanted the extra dough for. Sourdough sausage rolls. Gonna be banging. I don't know how it's gonna work yet because, as you can see, it's a very, very wet dough. There's got to be a way for me to make pastry type bread. I want it to be like bread, like essentially like a corn dog, but made out of sourdough. Oh, it's gonna be banging. I just don't know how I'm gonna do it yet. Using, throw one lemon, throw one lemon. See now, cottage pie is exactly that. It is a pie that's created in the cottage, and it's whatever meat is left at the cottage. Whatever you've got there to use is what you can use for the meat. So lamb mince, beef mince, pork. I wouldn't advise pork mince; it's a little bit saltier. Pork mince can be used. Use mutton if you really wanted to use mutton. There's literally no end to it. Now, what you've also got to remember is it would be made from the veg from a cottage garden. So whatever is in season when you are making the cottage pie that would be in your cottage garden is the veg that you would use. Just so you all know, I fully intend on digging up the back half of my garden and putting vegetables in to be used on the stream. I will probably do it on stream. Either that or make a vlog and put it onto YouTube. Because it may be just a little bit too boring watching a ginger guy in a back garden digging up his grass. You know, so, and then the front end of my garden will just have to be nice and green. Because my nieces and nephews come around. And they like to use the garden. They also do painting in the garden, so like I physically allow them to paint all of the stones, all of the floor stones, all the come to me a minute. Painting slabs in the back garden. I have no qualms with them doing that. Let them paint them, makes them look pretty, and makes them stand out for a little bit. And then the rain just washes it all away. It takes quite a while, but it does wash it away. And they do use full-on house paint, like emulsion. And at the end of each session, whichever one looks the best, I varnish it. So it will eventually, wear off, but nowhere near as quick. So I need to make some room here. El potato. That needs to go to the bank. You'll notice I have things like butter, seeds, yeast. I actually have my own home-dried chili peppers, bird's eye chili peppers, and finger peppers on here as well. They're actually in the old, emptied out, cleaned out yeast pot. So you can see in there. They're all dried out. All different stages. Some are fresh ones that were dried out. Some are end of life, if you like, where essentially means that they were either had to be dried out or they were going to be thrown out because I just couldn't use them quick enough. But I use a lot of chilies. I like a little bit of spice. Spice in your life. Spice up your life. I know I really shouldn't have done that, should I? Just lost all my viewers. Singing Spice Girls on live cam. That's never great for any bloke. Go back on the tray. We're done with that. It's a daily use tray. Scales can go back on the tray. Done with them for today. Well, done for them for now. For right this moment. In this moment. This also lives on the tray, or near the tray. So top that up. I'm going to stick the kettle on quickly, Miss Ladley, so I'm sorry about the deafening noise. Just out of curiosity, Mr. Latte, if you can hear me, if you're not in the middle of a call, obviously if you are, then just wait until after, please. Do you have any dietary or money restrictions? So, like, are you lactose intolerant? Like Cassie, who was here last Friday, she's actually allergic to licorice. I've never heard of that one before, but she is. I know, obviously, I've known it for a while with her, but before her, I'd never heard of somebody being allergic to licorice. Ever. Whole foreign concept to me, that was. Not that I use a lot of licorice in my cooking, but just that it seemed a bit strange, you know? Oh. And when I say monetary restrictions, I don't mean like, you know, you don't have to tell me your financials, but do you have any issues with going out and buying extra ingredients, such as the mincemeat or whatever? Because if so, obviously I can find another substitute. Get back to me on that one. Need to find somewhere to put all this bread that we are making. And that will keep that fresh. Fresh. Fresh and exciting. It's so fresh. Like that. This can go on top of it, because I leave a chopping board, by the way, if you're wondering why I'm moving it all around. Sounds like a new little video. I actually thought you just recorded them. So it's okay. So, it's 1 secondo mundo. Uno secondo mundo, the couch will be finished. So, just all the breadcrumbs wherever you can cut the bread on top of the oven. Right. Just realised something, Miss Latte. I just need one thing. That's alright. Ignore me. Got a masher. For some reason I thought I didn't have one. Right. Like I say, I only moved in here during the first COVID lockdown, so You can probably imagine I haven't got everything I need, but I do have a knife. Let's get some choppy chop done. Right, so I understand you've got baking potatoes. I will be using baking potatoes as well, but just so you know, for this moment in time, I'm just going to use up whatever potatoes I've got. I got the biggest potatoes I could because the baking potato 4-packs that they had in there were just shockingly bad. So I didn't want to get them, so I got Maris Pipers instead. Same thing, just a fluffier potato realistically. When you cook a Maris Piper up, it's very fluffy in the middle. Absolutely perfect for homemade chips. And I mean perfect for homemade chips. Using these up because they are just a little bit past best. Doesn't mean they're not usable, by the way, guys. Especially when somebody's got a best before date on it. That's not a use by. That's a best before. It means it's still good to eat. It just means it was better before that date. It means it was right before that date normally. If something has an eat before date on it, generally that means it needs to be eaten before that date. Depending on also the product, depends on if it does actually need eating or not before that date. They have to err on the side of caution because the last thing they want is court cases from people who have made themselves ill eating something that said, you know, best before, and then you go and eat it and they say, well, you should have said eat before. It's a whole whirlwind of health and safety, food hygiene, just a whole whirlwind of everything you don't want to get involved in. This, by the way, this part of the food prep isn't necessarily for cottage pie. I just need to get these cut up and used up because we've got some new ones in the fridge now, but these have been there for about 2 days. They're going to start getting a little bit soft. But I do need to eat dinner, so I may also cook these up. Wouldn't normally wash them, by the way. That one felt a little bit funky donkey. Barbecue boy, I don't know if you're still in the chat. We will cover as well at some point when I can afford to buy a new sharpening stone. We will be covering knife maintenance. So keeping an eye and check on your blade, making sure you keep it sharp, making sure you know how to sharpen it properly, and understanding what to use your knife on. I know that sounds silly, right? But like, it's just basic things. Like, you should never cut towards yourself ever. Right? But you see me using this giant knife doing all these little fiddly little jobs. I have a paring knife, which is designed for this. To literally get in there like that, and I can just, you know, it's sharp enough to just cut straight off. And that's what I should be using to do it with. But as you'll find with myself and a lot of other chefs, once you've got your chef's knife in your hand, you don't want to dirty another knife for no reason. So why bother? And a lot of people, it's just laziness. Now, I also, guys, don't have a compost pile just yet. Obviously, you know, if I'm going to be doing my own veg in the garden. Which bit? I don't know when you came back in. I'm going to be digging up the back end of my garden and putting vegetables in. By the way, barbecue boy. Don't know if it's the sort of thing you'd be willing to or interested in watching. But like I explained to Ms. Latte, the back end of my garden is going to be fenced off and dug up after the winter. And I'm literally going to fill the back end up with vegetables. So, 3 veggies. For anybody that ventures this far. I also think there's like a 3 or 4 minute delay on my chat. The viewer count's never right, ever. Don't know how to check how many views I've got on the OBS. My viewer count on Stream Elements is always wrong. Okay, you do a lot of gardening yourself. That might be handy. Not that I'm not a dab hand in the garden. I did a whole set of herbs and spices. Yeah, I buy a proper sharpening stone, so I'll show you how to do that properly. Forgot what I was saying. Sorry guys, lost my train of thought there. Sure, we'll come back to me in a minute. Oh yeah, different tasks is definitely important. There's no point in using this to try and cut these with, because yes, I can do this and then do this. It takes forever. I can literally just do that and get through it a lot quicker. It's just no point doing it that way. So we're doing cottage pie. We're preparing the food now for cottage pie barbecue boy. Like little Tupperware. I know for a fact, after having watched your stream for so long, that you must have a shit ton of Tupperware from your takeaways in your house. So I'm literally topping and tailing, just taking off the bad bits, looking for anything that needs removing. I'm not going to deskin it, there's no point. There's lots and lots and lots of health benefits, vitamins, minerals, and all of that goodness that's in the skin. You go and cut that out and cut it off, what's the point? You're throwing away free vitamins, free minerals. Yes, there is. Cottage pie is literally whatever meat you've got left over. Imagine you lived in what they call a cottage farm or a small holding. It would be cottage industry is what they call it over here now. You would literally use whatever veg is in your cottage garden at the time. So whatever's in season, with it being a cottage garden, you would have your own like little veg patch. You would go out in the garden, you would pick whatever veg is in season. That is what goes in. And then whatever meat you've got left over, because it's a cottage pie, you would have cows, sheep, pigs, geese, chickens, turkeys. You would have a variety of meats because you would have whatever you wanted, basically. So the meat could be any choice of meat. Normally and traditionally it would be beef. Loads of stuff. Always have lots of leftovers from stream. You always have lots left over? Huh. It's because Claire doesn't eat it. So yeah, any veg that's in season essentially, and whatever meats you have left over, you would just grind them up and throw them in. As a shepherd's pie, you are a shepherd out in the middle of the moors, you would eat lamb, because they are your flock. So you would have literally shepherd's pie would be lamb, and whatever veg and herbs you could find on the land where you are at the time. So, if you found carrots or potatoes or anything like that. No, it's literally, it's the meat, essentially. Both pies are used with whatever veg and herbs you can find that are in season. So you can literally throw anything in. They are not the base of the actual meal. The base of the meal is the meat, essentially. You would have your meat and then you would bulk it out with whatever fruit. whatever veg and herbs you can find. Like, fresh wild garlic. Oh, right, but if you imagine you're a shepherd and you've got 10,000 acres of land that you roam with your sheep, your flock, all year, every year, you're not just going to ravage the land, take everything, eat it all in one meal, and that was great. What you're literally going to do is you're going to go, oh look, there's some potatoes, or there's some wild garlic, and you would take it. I mean, you imagine you found some new potatoes out in the wild. I mean, something like that would be perfect because it's already got a sprout on it. So I could literally do that, bury it in the ground, and then I know that when I come back, my cycle of time that I come round, it's likely to have grown more. So I'm propagating at the same time and planting at the same time as digging up the food that you need. The same would go with herbs and spices. Spread the seeds, put the actual fruit back into the ground, so that when you come back around, it's there for you to do again. Same as a farmer. A farmer doesn't just take everything and not replant. You take your crop down, you save enough to replant, and then you eat the rest. That is just the way it goes. That is logic. It's all about being self-sustainable. So, as you can probably imagine, as a shepherd, you would put in it whatever you wanted because you would just plant what you wanted somewhere on your land, or you go roaming across the grounds and you find a couple of bits of potato, or you find some wheat or something sticking out of the ground. You just pick it up, throw some down, get on with your day. Come back next time, it's still there. Does anybody have a preference on meats that they like to eat? The barbecue boy probably just says meat because he's like me, he'll just eat anything that's meat. But some people are a bit particular on the meats that they eat. Like, percentage of fat is a big thing in this country right now. Like, people want the lower fat percentage. What they don't realise is by taking out the fat, you're also taking out a percentage of your flavour. It's a shame. I don't bother messing around with percentages of fat, sorry. I go to a butcher's and just ask for the meat itself, whatever's in it. I know, right? Well, barbecue boys, something that a lot of people don't know about me was all meats. Yeah, exactly. What do you want with your meat? More meat. See, I like my steaks rare. I really like my steaks rare. Originally when I moved to America, my life goal was to buy a piece of land. I'm going over there to look at a piece of land, said land. 40,000 acres in the border between Nevada and California, and it was going to cost me £10,000 to buy 40,000 acres, and I was going to physically dig up the clay and the rocks and cut down trees to make my own home and be self-sustainable, and to start my non-profit that I did start, but I'm stuck in this country now, so that's not going to happen. And that was the plan. I'd been planning it for years, and I mean years. And then I had kids. I got derailed. Eventually, I might make it out there again. My dream may come true to have my own little small holding in the middle of America. Nice hot weather. Oh, I still see it now. Feel the breeze on my cheek. These are the roast parsnips later on. Yeah, just like a proper little small holding. But these are all skills that I've picked up over the year by actually being physically doing the work. Like, I can make red bricks. Yeah, I may have bigger dreams now. My dreams now actually just, include me just meeting my daughter would be nice. It's before on her next birthday, and I haven't even met her. So my dreams are just as big, but different now, prioritized. Bear in mind, I've already spent like 5 to 7 grand on a visa I didn't get. So as crazy as that sounds to some people, it's just the way the visa system goes around here. There's a Netflix film for you. The guy who got refused entry into America 5 days before his daughter was born, and then got refused his visa, and has been told he's got 10 years before he can reapply. Little bit of informational nugget for you there. And here's another one for you. Something a lot of people don't know. Is I actually have 2 other YouTube channels on top of this Twitch stream. One is story time, that I actually read stories, bedtime stories to my kids. Yeah, my kids are all in America. My entire family's in America. America, as they call it. And it's entirely my own fault. Accidental 2-day overstay when I first went to America. When I very first went to America, just bear that in mind. Bearing in mind that when my daughter was born, that was like my 4th visit, and nobody had stopped me up until that point. And then Trump came in with his zero tolerance policy, so 2-day overstay is not allowed. Not only that, my fiance at the time was on medical marijuana, and there was some left in the car when I went up to the Canadian border. And even though it's illegal in Colorado, where the border is, it's legal, not illegal, and there's literally a cannabis store on the border called Weed. It's also legal in Canada. It's legal just across the border. What it isn't legal is you cannot physically bring it across the border. So it's legal on both sides. It's not legal to bring it with you. Stupidly enough. So, not knowing, when they did a search of my vehicle, I didn't declare anything because I didn't know it was there. They refused me entry, which then gave me 24 hours to race down to the border, back down to California, to get onto a plane to come back here. And then when I went back and I reapplied for my visa, they wouldn't allow it. Yeah, they are the only reason that I have an iPhone, so that I can FaceTime with my kids. You could call it Trump's Reign of Tyranny, starring a ginger bloke. Oh, that's life, I'm afraid. So, I'm sorry to say, it's just the way it goes quite often. Well, I don't care. Well, I wouldn't care about that. I mean, I declared everything, clear as day on my visa application, so that I wasn't lying. Nobody could accuse me of lying. Nobody could accuse me of withholding information. But when they say, if you've got £75,000 to back yourself to come into the country, and you put all your assets on the line, and you put your house on the line, you put your car on the line, when you go for your interview, what they don't tell you is that if you spent them savings trying to pay for your visa, that doesn't make a difference. You still needed to have that on top. I look at it this way. Yes, it's sad, but I speak to my kids twice a day minimum, every day, without fail. And I will always be there for my kids. And at least I can still call my kids, whereas a lot of people who can't afford to get an iPhone, which I can't, by the way, I'm just warning you now, I've got mine on contract, wouldn't get to see their kids. Now that's sad. That's real sad. I hope to one day meet my daughter and get back to my boys. Notice, by the way, barbecue boy, fingers are out of the way at all times. This is a Swede. It will take some pressure to get through it with a sharp knife and a rocking motion. It says, in any direction, a rocking motion. Wow. There we go. I caught on the knot because I didn't cut the rest of the knot off. There we go. There's probably got a bit of the knot left on there as well. Yeah, I mean it is. My daughter, when she was first started talking, her first words were dad. Well, dad, 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 dad. And she used to sing it to me on the phone. Now when she was first born, because I used to spend so much time with her on the phone, she had a very cute mixed British slash American accent. Let's see if I've got. This is my daughter, Aurora. This is my youngest son, Logan. And then there's Xavier, my oldest son. Oh, my dog Remy, who I obviously had to leave behind as well. So, but I have my kids everywhere, literally. So I can never forget them. No, the veg doesn't need to be cut the same size. You just need to make sure if you're putting it into something like cottage pie, you need to make sure whatever you put in has enough time to actually, cook. So like the Swede would take longer. I would physically cut them smaller, but it's also a lot more work to cut them smaller. Thank you very much, Barbecue Boy. I know. As adorable as they all look, they can all be an absolute nightmare. And I mean all of them. My oldest one's quite calm, quite timid. But the other two, wow. I mean, you want wild cards. Aurora can go nuts just from saying no to her. Logan's autistic, so we can, we do have communication issues sometimes with Logan. My little boy. I mean, you want tragic, Miss Latte. My youngest son, 2 years ago, was taken into hospital with a tumour in his bowels and was given 24 hours to live. And I was stuck here. Now that's tragic. Because if anything had happened to my kids while I was unable to get to them, that would have been, that wouldn't have been a pretty sight. Just so you know, you don't necessarily need to cook any of these, like pre-cook them. Like that was 2 years ago now. basically he's couldn't, he wouldn't eat, and we thought he was just playing around or whatever. And after about a day or whatever, he said he had an upset stomach and he didn't feel like eating. And it's the way it is. Like he sometimes he won't eat because of his autism. Well, after day 3 of him not even wanting to chew anything, not eating anything, and every time he eats it hurting, he couldn't drink fluids. But what happened was it had formed in his bowels, in his intestines, and it formed to the point where one day it just grew to the point where it blocked everything off. And he was in hospital for the best part of a week before they could even find out what the problem was. Just getting worse and worse and worse with pipes and tubes. And yeah, that wasn't a good experience for me whatsoever. Dark days for me and him, I'm afraid. But yeah, he pulled through when they found out what it was, and they took him into surgery, and he was, back to his usual morning self within a couple of days. But obviously it took him a few weeks to get over it. A few months to get over it, in fact. But it's definitely a crushing reality that not all humanity values life the same. Like I explained to the TSA agent who was refusing me entry into their country when I asked him, does he have children? And would he have liked to have missed their birth? And things like that. They don't care. They're inhuman. They're just robots. A father of 3 was telling me I couldn't see my daughter born because of a 2-day overstay. Oh yeah, he's rip-roaring and causing trouble again now. Didn't take him long. You'll notice, Barbecue Boy, that I'm doing a lot of downward presses at the moment. It's because this is so hard to get through. You try and use the rock like this, you can't get the position you need. You need the knife off. But you'll also notice that I've always got my fingers out of the way when I'm coming down on it. Most of my fingers out of the way. That's what happens if you don't use your fingers. Come on. No, you can most certainly. You can actually, Miss Latte, cook the entire meal, including the cottage pie, in a slow cooker. The only difference is your timings have to be different. Out of the what? Your veg timings are the only difference that makes is things like your swede and your carrots would have to go in first, and you would have to give them a good 20 minutes, 30 minutes worth of cooking first, because they have to be part blanched. Or you could just boil them up in a pan first. You notice how small I'm cutting the swede. It's because I do not intend on cooking it first. So I want it all to be cooked within 40 minutes. That means it all has to be set and ready to go at the right size to cook at the same speed as everything else. Oh, it's not hard to use a slow cooker at all. If, however, you get your timings wrong, or the liquid content wrong, it can make your food a little bit mushy, or a lot mushy. Let's put it this way, if you were to make a stew or a broth in a slow cooker and you got it wrong, the only option you would have would be to turn it into soup with a blender. But if you get it right, I mean, you could physically put swede, carrots, and potatoes in the pot and allow them to start cooking while you're cutting the rest of the veggies up. Throw all the rest of the veggies in the pot, turn it down to slow, turn it down to, low, sorry, not slow. Brown off your mince. Make sure you brown off the mince in a pan before you do. It seals in the flavour and it gives you the colour you need. Otherwise, you'll end up with like a pink coloured cooked mince, and people who don't like rare would be put off by that. It's not what you want. Then literally mix up your gravy. I like to mix my gravy in the pan that I browned off the beef with to get myself a nice beefy gravy. Add that directly to the pot. Add your meat. Mix it all up, and I mean literally just mix it all up. Allow it to cook for the majority of the day. Just leave it on slow cook. While it's on low, you don't need to worry. You can literally set it going at 6 o'clock in the morning. You do all this preparation, 5:30, get up at 5:30, boom, 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 boom. Throw it all straight in your slow cooker. Walk out the door, leaving it on low. Come back after 8 hours. All you've then got to do is boil your potatoes, mash them, throw it on top of the slow cooker. Bearing in mind, most slow cookers come with a slow cooker insert. That's all this is. All that's off is an old slow cooker. And that's where the lid would have been, which got broken off before I got the slow cooker. And that's your insert. So you would literally take that out, put your mashed potato on. Now, I like to put breadcrumbs and a little bit of cheese on top of mine, and it just gives it a really nice crunchy texture on the very top with a nice cream mash underneath, and a nice little bit of gooey cheese that strings out up the sides as you pull it out. So you literally put your mash over the top, turn your oven on, leave the lid off, obviously. Do not put the lid in the oven while it's got this bit on, otherwise you'll end up with no lid. Turn your oven on to full max. Give it 5 minutes to come up to certain temperature. It's not going to come up to maximum temperature in 5 minutes. Don't care what anybody says. Unless it's a fan oven, then, possibly. Mine isn't. Allow your oven, say 10 minutes to come up to temperature. Put the mash on top. Sprinkle on your breadcrumbs. Put on a little bit of cheese. Then literally take this, throw it in the oven. You've got to remember is this tin is meant to withstand high heats of your slow cooker for extremely long periods of time. Some people use their slow cookers for 3 days at a time, 4 days at a time, and they're on constant. So this is not going to get hurt by putting in there. It's why I bake my loaves in it, because it's absolutely brilliant. The slow cooker's long gone. But it also means that you can still use this as a slow cooker. This pot itself is the slow cooker without the cooking element. So this can be used as a slow cooker, even with the lid now, because it hasn't got a plastic handle on it. I can literally throw this straight in the oven. And all I do is get a little bit of cling film and I stick it over the hole, and it seals the hole for me. So I still use this as a slow cooker. I just have to use it in the oven. So you put your breadcrumbs on, you put your cheese on, throw it in the oven, give it 15 minutes, if that. Just keep going until the cheese is all melted and bubbly and it starts to get that little burnt cheese texture in certain spots. Bring it out, scoop it out, serve it up. Oh. Slow cookers are very versatile and very, very useful. Do not leave it on full heat for the entire day if you want a cottage pie, because when you get back, you won't have cottage pie. You'll have minced beef with vegetable soup. And that's not what you want. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to slam that down the board there. These I am not cutting, not dicing, slicing. I'm literally quartering them to go in the oven. These are not going in it. Well, new recipe. Very hearty, very healthy, full of vitamins and minerals. Always worth it. Always worth gonna have. slow cooker. I will be getting another one, but as you well know, I have other priorities right now for the stream in particular. Soupy veg and minced meat. Ugh. It's not good. Although to be fair, it's quite unfair for me to say. I've had vegetable soup that I've put minced meat into, just to give it some meat. But I actually didn't just like throw the minced meat straight in. I turned it into little balls. So there's meatballs in vegetable soup, which essentially is just, like oxtail soup essentially with vegetables. Oh. I do have quite a few weird and wonderful recipes that I probably won't be sharing, to be fair. Some of them are a little bit out there. Would be an understatement. See, I haven't had a reply yet from my guests. Say that they're coming tomorrow. Actually. Right. Sweet, which will probably have like a 2 or 3 minute part blanche before I use them. Just because I want them to be nice and soft, well, not soft as in mushy, but I want them to be soft. If you see my point. Parsnips, I will. I'm going to take something very, very healthy, aka the parsnip. There's a lot of health benefits in it, lots of vitamins and minerals within the skins and the actual vegetable itself. And then I'm going to smother it in melted butter, and I'm going to throw it in the oven. It completely seals in everything. So you have a nice soft, mushy centre with a nice crispy outside. It's the only way forward, so tell me. The only way. It's got to be perfect. Too many people take second best, but I won't take anything less. It's got to be, yeah. Now we're going there like that. Once they're covered, obviously. And then I'll take the rest of the butter and I will literally pour it over the top. Very unhealthy way to cook them, by the way, but man, the taste is phenomenal. Phenomenal, as they call it around here. Phenomenal. All these items, by the way, that I'm pre-preparing, you've got to have somewhere to put them. You've got to be, ready for that. I have room on the base of my freezer in order to put this stuff in, but you don't need to. What you can do is just hide it in your oven for the day. It doesn't matter if your veg comes up to room temperature before you cook it. It's not going to hurt your veg. It's just about to be roasted. What it does mean is that the cook time is slightly less because it doesn't have to bring it up to temperature before it starts the cooking process. do I want them? So now it's flat on the board, it's not moving. And I'll just put them in the wrong dish. That's my biggest pan, so that's obviously for the potatoes. So the carrots need just as much time to cook as the potatoes, but not quite as much as the Swede. The Swede takes a lot of cooking. You can pre-cook on the morning as well, by the way. If you're doing it like this, and you're doing it before you go to work because you want everything set up for when you get back, you can pre-blanch them and then just leave them to cool down for the day. Come on. By the way, if you're wondering why it's doing a lot of that clack, clack, because I'm holding my knife wonky because my wrist's hurting at the moment. So I keep twisting the knife, which means it then snaps the carrot off instead of cuts through it. Thus the top end comes up and slops back down again. I need to put the legs, the feet back on this chopping board. It's got feet that created to go on the bottom, but it's also got two anti-slip bars on it to stop it from slipping off the top of the oven. Is there anything anybody would like to see on the channel at all? Anybody who may have just joined, because it says I've just got an extra viewer. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the Ginger Kitchen, where we teach you how to make food from the basics. And we try not to spend all day doing it. By the way, barbecue boy, people don't generally mind watching you do food prep as long as, there's a result at the end. But you may have noticed that I actually put in my title about doing the food prep, so that people aren't coming to a stream expecting to see one thing and get something else. But it's quite a full food prep, to be fair. It's quite hands-on. See, now we need to fold this again. Put that on my tray so I know where it is. One of the items that will be getting used today, so this. I don't know why that's there in the first place. Get ourselves some water. It's just water, plain old water. Dip your hands in it, like I said, stop the dough from sticking to you. And then straight in. and fold. Do you see how much more elastic it is now? So it's less sticky, more elastic, starting to soak up the moisture. I am kneading this more than what that one was needed. Just because I want a little bit more elasticity in the actual dough, the end product of the dough, rather than it being, I mean, yes, it's bouncy, it's dense, it's airy, it's got bubbles, blah, blah, blah. I get it. Most people would be happy with what they've got there. That's a good loaf. I won't lie. It tastes good, smells good, feels good, blah, 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 blah. But if you're not going to try and perfect something, once you've, basically sorted it, then you're never going to actually figure it out. Because it's by experimentation and practice, trial, error, getting things wrong. That's how you learn. Especially with this sort of thing. I mean, you can learn by watching videos. You can learn by watching somebody do it. You can learn, by reading. If you really wanted to, you just read a book and learn how to bake. But nothing will be as good as experiencing something going wrong. Spent 2 days doing a sourdough loaf, and if that had sunk in the oven and tasted really badly, I would not be doing this again like this, would I? Trial and error. These are going to hopefully be buns, or a couple of buns, and a full loaf. And I mean loaf as opposed to in the loaf tin this time, instead of the giant tin. There we go. Nice gelatinous lump. But it says 4 viewers, but I don't know if I have got 4 viewers or not. I've set 18 followers though, so I would have expected somebody to have been here. Just keep you all company in the chat. Shanti is live. Oh Shanti, you came and you gave without taking. See, this is what happens when we don't have music, guys. They break out into song, and it's never good. Go back up there for another half an hour. Wipe the moisture off my keyboard, I guess, off my actual computer. Still good. One, two, three. Right, we've got the extra potatoes. Right, so like this little lot here, by the way, this isn't necessarily what I'm putting in my cottage pie. I wouldn't normally put them in there, but they need using up. I want them out of the way. Very much the cottage thing to do would be just to throw them in the pie. So that's what I'm doing. Like I said, it's a cottage pie, so it's any fruit, any veg that you've got that you want to use up. I'm also sticking a clove of garlic in mine. It's also very unusual, but I have a thing about fresh garlic. I love fresh wild garlic. This isn't wild garlic. However, this garlic does need using, before it goes out. So, just using it up. I will be making garlic bread as well at some point next week. Which is why I bought the garlic in the first place. Big fan of garlic. Big fan of garlic. pa, pa, pa. So, how would we all feel about having a little bit of guns in on the background? We can find a feed that hasn't been muted. I would no doubt last night's would have been muted already because I had the Avengers in it. Cruising for some trouble there. Let's have a look, shall we? Let's have a look, have a look, have a look. Guns Lano. I can't get that right. I could call me Guns Lano, it's not. Guns Lano. Stick a bit of Michael Milano on in the background. Oh, Guns, where have you gone? Guns apparently is no longer on Twitch. Ah! It's a lie. It's a lie. There it is. 3.7 thousand viewers. Whoa, well done. Well done indeed. Let's unplug the speaker. A bit of background music. Miss Lada, when you come back, or if you can hear me, let me know if that is too loud. Because I don't want it to overrun what I'm saying. Is that better? Okay. What about now? What about now? Yep. Is it too loud though? Awesome. This is Guns. Guns is Middle Eastern. That's what I was looking for. There we go. At least you don't have to listen to me singing now. If it gets too loud, please let me know. As far as OBS is concerned, apparently it's way out of the range of the sound input. So now I'm literally just getting the rest of the veggies ready. So I will start the construction of this shortly, and then I'll cook the beef up, like full on pre-cook the beef. When you put this in the oven later on, the only thing that should be hot to start with would be the mashed potatoes. Now what you got to remember is that mashed potatoes are a very dense vegetable, filled with starch, so you physically need to heat this whole thing up in the oven before putting the mash on. Unless, of course, like I say, you're doing it in a slow cooker, and then everything's going to be hot and ready to go anyway. I would think Barbecue Boy would recognise this one. Hey, hey! Well, thank you very much, and welcome to Ginger Kitchens. How are you doing today? Just turn it a little bit myself. Legalise Laser Ranch. Your mate reckons you're not a man until you've had a man. So you had a man. Okay. Not sure where this is going, but you know. Well, each to their own. This world takes all sorts. We don't judge on this channel. We are just preparing food to make a cottage pie later on. Yes, this is true. Well, I would since you're watching me cook, I would say that I'm into cooking. Best place for them, apparently. No idea, my friend. Got me a peeler. Boring. I'm sorry, you may have me mistaken with somebody else, my friend, because nobody's bought me anything. Paulie. Where would I know you from, Paulie? Yeah, it's alright, Miss Latte. I try not to block people just, for coming in and trolling. At the end of the day, Twitch will see them doing it and eventually we'll block them anyway. I'm surprised my bot hasn't blocked that. Well, we are a very family sort of oriented channel here. So we do try and keep it as clean as we can. If you've got any questions about food, more than, let me know if the bass gets too much with the sound. Go for $1 million. Somehow realize what you gotta do. Sorry, my man. Like I said, we take a lot more than that. A lot more. Not only that, I don't have a donation set up, so I don't know how you would donate. When I see something destroyed by palm oil. What? Well, I haven't got an issue with palm oil because I don't use it. Right, so So you are now on cooldown of some description. I'm done. I don't want to ban you. Time out was what I wanted. Yeah, could do without the noise. You don't need that in the chat, to be fair. Yeah, I get it, but I mean, I'm going to try and stay calmish, you know. If I allowed everybody that comes into the stream doing that to annoy me, I may not have a stream within a week. No, they seem to get more and more stupid. I don't see the point. Like if I wanted to troll somebody, I'd troll Barbecue Boy. Yeah. This onion's past best, so it's been in there 4 days, so I'll leave it now. We got enough onion anyway. Good old guns in the background. Yeah, I have no problems with having mods. My issue is obviously when you first start out, I've only got 18 followers and you're my main viewer, so you know, at this moment in time, it's not really an issue. But obviously I don't have anybody in mind for a mod because it would have to be somebody who is actively watching more often than not. Craftpunk, hi there, how you doing? Welcome to the Ginger Kitchen. So today we have done sourdough starter. We've fed the starter this morning. We see some nice bubbles going through there. And then we have started the new sourdough for the new loaf, which needs stirring in 10 minutes. So you can see that in about 10 minutes, the actual dough. It's just proving at the moment. Correct me if I've forgotten anything, Miss Latte, since you've been here since the beginning. Now we're just doing food prep ready for tonight's meal, which is inspired by the viewers. So every week I ask the viewer if they've got anything in their cupboards that they don't know how to cook, or don't know how to cook with, or what to put it with. Today was Miss Latte's day. She chose chickpeas that she's had in her cupboard for I don't know how long. So we get the right camera. There we go. So we have chickpeas. She had potatoes. She had a red onion. I think that was it. think they're all noodles, but we haven't got the noodles today. We'll choose another day to do that. So today we are making cottage pie with chickpeas, red onions, potatoes, carrots, and sweet. Get it all ready, prep it all up, get it into the bowl ready to go. So that this would normally be done, especially for myself, would normally be done first thing in the morning. It wouldn't be done right around this sort of time. So you would just come in from home from work, throw it straight in the oven, 20, 30 minutes later, you've got your dinner. So it's just a way to prepare yourself for the evening meal. And then tonight, I have another stream this evening, or this afternoon I should say, at this point it's going to be straight after this one, where I actually cook and create the meal itself. And how are you doing today, Craft Punk? I have to ask, with a name like Craft Punk, do you stream craft things, or is it just something you like to, a name you like to have? Well, what's the matter, Craft Punk? What's going on, Craft Punk? Speak to me. Let us know what's going on. What is it with me today? Can I not get anybody who's not trolling? Wow, I am so surprised this wasn't muted out. Yeah. Bum, 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 bum. I am so surprised this part of Guns' set wasn't muted. Okay, no problem, Miss Latte. Cottage pie, my friend, cottage pie. We are just finishing up our morning prep. We've only got one thing left to do after this, and that is to cook up the beef, the minced beef, and then after that, just prep it all up, ready to go for tonight. And how are you today? Welcome to the stream. Just putting a dash of a squeeze of lemon on top of the potatoes to increase the acidity when I put the water on. Stop them from changing colour throughout the day while you're, at work or doing whatever you need to do. So they will sit there now in the slightly acidic water, which should kill off any bacteria. Nice, what did you have for dinner? You know what the answer's going to be, but you know. Just rinsing out the chickpeas. Well, each of their own, eh? And there goes another one. No, I don't want you to allow it. That's just silly. So, for some reason, this seems to be the time of day where all the idiots are coming out. So the chickpeas in, Miss Latte? Yeah, we got another one. Raw dog in blocks. It's got to be the Thursday thing, hasn't it? That's 3 within 10 minutes. So now we just do the construction now, by the way, Miss Latte. All I did was opened up the chickpeas, put some cold water in there to run the whatever it was they had in there with them, the brine or whatever, off, and then just rinsed them out. Threw one across the kitchen. It's the only thing that's not going in right now is the potatoes and the sweet. Now, potatoes don't physically go into it, remember that. You see how soft your chickpeas are? Yeah. So you get like a nice little mush. Now, bearing in mind, we do, we make like a dip and a dressing with chickpeas as well. Absolutely gorgeous, to be honest. Just a good resource. So your red onion. Now you notice how I'm not frying this up first? I like my stuff like that to be fresh and raw before it goes in, because you've got to bear in mind it will get cooked in the oven. It smells so good right now. Make sure you get the little bits of garlic that are stuck to the bottom. Put everything in. Right now, I don't part blanch the carrot because I like a little bit of crunch to my carrot. Just so you know, you may not have seen it, I put a squeeze of lemon in with the potatoes, because obviously they're going to be sat there for a couple of hours. You don't want your potatoes going brown, and the lemon just seems to keep the acidity off. Now, it's not something I do regularly, because obviously, like I said, normally I would just cook it straight off. You will find the acidity will change the flavour slightly. I know, it's beautiful, isn't it? All them different colours, all the vegetables. Think about all the health that's in that dish already. All the benefits. Just move this. See if it's still warm. I very much doubt it. Cheers. Well, let's put it this way, it wasn't hot. In fact, I can safely say it wasn't even warm. Yeah, I mean, you've got to remember that eating and cooking, 50% of it is done with your eyes. Because if you look at something grey and disgusting and dull and just looks nasty, you won't want to eat it. It doesn't matter how good it tastes, your brain won't physically want to eat it. Same goes with sushi. I love the taste of sushi. I mean, I love the taste of sushi. Right? Big fan of sushi. Big fan of fish, to be fair, in general. But I do love my sushi. Only problem is, I cannot eat raw salmon because the actual texture of it, makes me feel like being sick, ironically. Just give me one moment. I just need to get this lube. Sorry. Sorry, I'm back. Wash my hands. Need to turn the sourdough starter again. Beans the way I do. Out in the See how every time I get it out, it's risen slightly? Not by a lot this time, to be fair. It's because the house is very cold right now. I intentionally opened all my windows and everything this morning. Because I needed some air through. Well, guns, that just got loud. See how it's getting less and less sticky? We're gonna throw it back to you. And now we should somehow realize what you gotta do. I don't believe that anybody. So, Ms. Latte, we were in the chat last night. I don't know if you were, like, not you, as in me. There was several of us last night in the Discord video chat with Guns. And throughout Guns' stream, because I had been awake for so long, I kept nodding off. So, yeah. So, next week my schedule will be back to normal. So today's show will be back to the 8:30 it's supposed to have been at today, as opposed to the 10 o'clock. And it was only 10 o'clock today. Sorry. It was only 10 o'clock today because, like I say, I was up most of the night talking to Guns. Yeah, I mean, I physically was. One of the guys pointed out, I think it was. It'll come to me in a minute. Begins with M. Morpheus pointed out that we were in the chat and every 10-20 minutes I would nod off. Only for a brief moment, but long enough for everybody in the stream to see it and probably take screenshots of me asleep. Doesn't bother me. I don't sleep obviously very much because my kids are in America, so I'm awake all night talking to my kids, and then I'm awake all day doing this. I would be at work normally during the day, but with COVID, can't get a job. With being a living nanny, nobody wants to hire a nanny during lockdown. Luckily enough for me, I have been a chef before and I have done lots of cooking, so I have something to fall back on. Now I just need to get all the elements and everything working together. So any help is appreciated there as well, by the way. Okay, so there. That can go on there like that. Now I'd advise you to put lids on them, obviously. That can go in the fridge, that can go in the bin. What can go in the wash. Okay, so that door only needs one more turn. Or 1 more hour's worth of turns, so it's 2 turns. On the last turn, I'm probably going to actually give it a full-on knead for at least 2 or 3 minutes. Just to satisfy my OCD more than anything. So this is that cleaned. Wash it right down even. Well, we are done now for tonight, so it's just me cleaning up for the next hour. And then tonight I will be cooking up the mince with the gravy, adding the mince and the gravy to this, and then it will be going in the oven for 35 to 45 minutes. So it is a long cook time. We'll have a few drinks, he says, and I wonder whether I've even got any drinks left. And we will have a few laughs. And you will see me shaping the sourdough into buns. It will come to me eventually. Yeah, it kind of crept up on me. I thought I still had something to do there, and I turned around and it was all done. This needs covering. Do not forget that. If you go out and leave it like this, it'll just be dry when you get back. It's not so much of an issue. A little bit of salt and pepper. I know some people don't like pepper, but I actually really like pepper. so it's not a problem. I have an actual lid that goes on, seals it down. Tonight, when I come back, I will literally fry up the meat so it's like brown, golden brown if you like. Golden brown. I'll put it there, I'll mix it up. The gravy goes in over the top because you deglaze the pan to make the gravy. Now what that means is that all the flavour that's hit the bottom of the pan that's dried on and is hard and cooked in, you're deglazing it, so you're taking it off the pan and putting it into the gravy. Makes it very special gravy. Okay, so what time will you be finished in time for tonight's stream, Ms. Latte? Seeing tonight's stream is pretty much based around you. And I'll figure out the sound thing. Oh crap! I don't know what happened there. I know we're still streaming. What time does it start? That's a good question. I think it starts at 4:30 or 5 o'clock. I will have a look for you now. I can't remember what I put, to be fair. I don't know, that's terrible. I should be able to remember. Come on, come on, come on. Thank you. Oh, 2 new messages apparently. Oh, apparently Raw Dogging has sent me a message. One says, sorry babe, and the other one says, I'll behave. Yeah, we won't be unblocking you just because you put that in the chat. Your timeout will be out after 600 minutes, so I don't know what that is. What is left, sorry. That's not what you wanted, Mark. Sorry, I'm just... I know there's a way to do it. Click on that. There we go, schedule. Because I'm live. Just got a shout out from Guns. That was nice. Get a shout out while I'm live streaming. Okay, so it's set for 5:15. Actually, it's not. Why is it saying that? We shall find out momentarily. Sorry. Thursday stream. Right, so it's set for 5:30. So will you have finished work by then? I mean, it's no biggie if not. Just remember, obviously, I wanted you to see the Yorkshire pudding. Now, the Yorkshire puds won't be getting cooked straight away anyway, because you've still got to have the rest of the meal to go with it, and they take all of, 12 minutes, if that? Or, sorry, 12 to 20 minutes, if that, depending on the size, obviously, the shape and everything like that. Yeah. Let's see who's on Miss Latte. I will do a raid, but I'm going to... Good. I kind of based it around that because you said last week you have varied times, but that's kind of the area you're going to be finished. And like I say, this stream is particularly for you anyway, so I'd rather do it when you are able to watch rather than just doing it and you happen to rewatch it. Let's see who's on. really want a copy of this set. It won't let me download it. Sorry, I'm trying to find out who's online to do a raid. Have you got anybody in your onlines that you want to raid? Because at the moment I haven't, which is unusual. Let's have a look at the food and drink then. Food and drink. There are two. Right, okay, I get that, but I was kind of looking for more food related. Oh, Canada. Welcome, welcome, Canada. We have literally just finished. I'm just looking for somebody to raid. But thank you very much for coming in. If you come in tonight, we'll do a full recap on tonight's stream. And we will be constructing cottage pie with giant Yorkshire puddings and sourdough bread. With a side helping of guns. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Brilliant. Thank you, Canada. Please do stop by tonight. It would be nice to see you in here. Ooh, very nice. Very nice. Well, tonight's stream is based on the viewer's choice. So viewers' ingredients. Basically, on my last stream, I ask a viewer what they've got in their cupboards that they can't use or don't know how to use or have had in their cupboard for 20,000 years and don't know what to do with. And tonight is actually Miss Latte, who's in the chat. She made a choice because she had certain things in her cupboard that she didn't know how to use. So we had chickpeas, red onions, and a stray potato. Or was it stray onions and potatoes? So I went out and bought the ingredients. So I had exactly the ingredients that she had. And a few extras, obviously, to add into it. And tonight we're doing cottage pie with chickpeas in it. So, making a dal. Nice. Making a dal. No. Cottage pie. Although, to be fair, I quite like a dal. I love my spicy foods. Let's find someone who hasn't got a lot of viewers, huh? Fairy Muff. Gotta love a bit of Fairy Muff. I don't know why these chefs are streaming videos. If you're not online, get offline. .400 viewers. Right, so he's got a very few viewers. Let's give him a go. And I hope to see you tonight, Canada. We'll be going from my stream. We will be raiding Barbecue Boy. Let's give this a go. So it is a raid. Thank you all again for being here. We're kicking off at 5:30 tonight. And we'll be cooking this, doing the Yorkshire puddings, constructing it all together, and I'll be sitting down to stuff my face while we watch Barbecue Boy. 3DPROTO. Thank you all for being here, guys, and it's a pleasure as always, and I will see you all tonight, hopefully. Have a good day, stay safe, stay happy. Oh boy. Yeah, you would think so. It'd be better if it was a convoy, to be fair. It is! I agree! 100%! 100% agree with you there. Maybe we should start a petition to get it changed, Canada. Okay, guys. Make sure you let them know where you come from. Let's go raid. I need volume. Because I've got the chat. Oh, you got the chat there, so.